Hi guys, good morning. Today we're going to discuss about the evolution of the web, or what we call a series of integration into the digital media. So it's an understanding of first base, the history of the internet, and then of course its particulars from HTML down to of course websites. So now we will discuss what is the differences, and again, there's a segue, or there is actually a video that is embedded on this on our platform for BS, which is actually the World in 2050, which is describing actually AI. So this will be the bulk of our discussion. So I'll be sharing to you a presentation about the evolution of this concepts, or Web 1, or why do you call it as Web 2.0, Web 3.0. So we've been hearing these concepts in relation to our classes in terms of digital media. Okay, so in order to understand it, we will try to discuss it. So I'm going to share to you a brief discussion about the web. Okay, so when did actually the web 3.0 start? So first and foremost, there's actually a great debate on how it started, because there are a lot of course, people describing what is um, the name, why is it called the web, what is web 3.0, and usually it's people cannot agree upon its name, its existence, and a lot of IT people, or of course those who are working in the digital or social media uh, uh, or creative media technology gurus or authors. They tell that the .com is the first era of the web, and then Web 2.0 is the second, and there's a bubble up to describe that era. So there is a great debate. It's evolving, but again, um, one actually person, Mark Fauci, describes it, or what he calls as the semantic web, and it tells Web 3.0 promises to again organize the world's information in a dramatically more logically way than Google can ever achieve with their current engine design. So Web 3.0 is the next generation of internet technology that usually or it heavily relies on the use of machine learning and of course artificial intelligence, or AI. So basically Web 1.30 aims to create more open and connected and intelligent websites and web applications. It's not just basically static in nature, because normally all of the data now that we have are user friendly. We say user friendly, but again, it's of course intelligent websites and web applications, usually focusing on a machine based understanding of data. An example of which is what we are now using, or some of this, as I think we have at home, are these are smart home appliances using wireless networks. For example, the likes of LG, which actually integrates your aircon, your ref, and all your machines into a wireless network. So it's very seamless. So it's just that is a concept of Web 3.0. So Web 2.0, how did it arrive? So if the trend is now Web 3.0, trend is of course traced from Web 1.0, a static information provider where usually people read websites but rarely interact with them. So they just read it, and then when Web 2.0 came in after around 10 to 15 years, an interactive and social web enabling collaboration happened between users. It can be assumed that, again, the Web 3.0 will change both how these websites are made and how people will interact with them. So this has been a recurring theme of would-be meme engineers, and of course, it's the next big thing. Actually, Tim O'Reilly mentions that a lot of times. Okay, So he said that it has been a recurrent theme, or it's like a meme. Okay, so how did the web evolve? Normally, it has a pattern. So first they describe it, or a lot of people are telling or discussing, like the likes of the people before, like Tim O'Reilly. He mentions that the theory of evolution, or the theory of biological evolution. So, for example, in the beginning, there, these are codes. So it's full of genetic codes, and then of course, these codes were formed into vessels of information. So it's transformed. So if remember your PCs, so before it had no operating system, so it was full of vessels of information, and then of course, the basic unit for that biological information was known as the gene. Okay, so the gene is the makeup of our, if you know it as the DNA, right? So the gene could store, duplicate, transmit data. And then after duplicating that came with, of course, interpretation, and then now you mutate. Mutation begins. With mutation came, of course, the specialization, and then it actually split up again. These genes became better suited, and then for certain tasks began to work together. So there's again a series of integration. So tanggal ng tanggal, balik ng balik, and then eventually it became beneficial partnerships, which led to the first organisms. Okay, and then of course next is the theory of cultural evolution. So the cultural evolution is of course ongoing. Kasi nga, as it was called, the basic unit of cultural information is known as the meme. So it's like a meme because the world is full of loose ideas, and there's tunes, catchphrases, beliefs, and of course technology, art, etc. So these are cultural innovations or evolutions that is really changing. Okay, very infectious yung mga memes. Okay, there are a lot of like TikTok, etc. We're happy with this one. So social eras, there was a form of beliefs and meme plexes, infectious memes. Okay, so in that hemisphere, in that landscape, there is now the survival of the fittest for these memes. Only the best survives, or only the best can make it. So some memes are a flash in the pan. Some memes are, of course, not even get so far as a flash. And some, however, can change the fabric of our internet culture. So you have seen, like, for example, MySpace, Friendster, the likes of internet, or AOL, or the likes of the other Netscape, etc. So these are the survival of the fittest. And of course, the greater good. If we remember our ethics discussions, it's for the better good, meaning the two T's, tool plus tool equals better tool. Okay, so it's like, for example, making or maximizing, of course, JavaScript and XML. You call it Ajax because you combine JavaScript and XML, and then of course Yahoo and Flickr, and of course Google and YouTube. So these are who will buy out who in this platform for the internet. Is is it Google versus YouTube, or Google and YouTube? So there is this, that's why there's a drawing. So Twitter, then Facebook, and then it becomes Microsoft, and then Google. So kita niyo yung drawing ng fish, right? So will they eat up everyone else, or will Google eat up everyone else, or not? So that's the greater good. So there's dalawa, good, the greater good, and the survival of the fittest. So which is which? So how did we actually get to Web 3.0? Okay, first is, of course, we describe in the history, Web 1.0 actually is known as the web of portals. So it was only known, or the web was known only as information portals, and information became exclusive only to its own contents. Okay, so we divide now the World Wide Web into usable directories, because when you have a portal, it has directories. So everyone has their own little corner in that cyberspace. And of course, it lacks content, or context, interaction, and scalability. So if you're familiar with the previous Hotmail, or MSN Hotmail, and Hotbot, and of course GeoCities, you will see that these are portals that, although it's not interactive yet, it's just basically creating its own space. Okay, so the web 2.0 now, the web now becomes a platform. So information portal, the web as an information portal, now it becomes not actually now a platform. So is the Philippines here or not? Look, we'll see. Okay, so we'll try to discuss that in a little while. So the web as a platform. So the web as a platform is described as, of course, now we see communities like Flickr, you have YouTube because there are channels, and now you see Facebook as like a community. Okay, the power of a seemingly fair form of organization wherein, of course, you tag everyone else. Okay, may tinag ka, mag-goal ka na, somebody tagged you. So these are the Web 2.0. But again, a lot of people are saying it lacks personalization, true portability, and interoperability. Sometimes you can't manipulate the functions. Okay, so you set up integrations, you have RSS, API, and then of course you focus on the power of the community to create and validate yourself. So that's the Web 2.0. That's how they describe it. Okay, so may examples pa nga, Flickr, YouTube. So these are the generations. So it's just around 10 to 15. So when 1.0 is probably, or let's just say 80s and then 90s and then year 2000 is of course and beyond is now what we call as Web 3.0. So how do we now, we'll try now to compare Web 1.0 to Web 2.0. So mostly it's read only on web, 45 million global users in 1996. And of course, these focus on companies going on the web. Okay, not all companies kasi are or has an internet connection. So it was required that all businesses have a website and focus on companies' homepages. And of course, you have content is on Britannica, and then you have online HTML, you have portals, you have web forms, you have directories, you have Netscape. Okay, sikat ang Netscape ng mga Web 1.0. And of course, you have the views and you have the advertising. While in Web 2.0, it's what you call as now, in 2006, it focuses on blogs, community blogs. And then of course you share now the content and of course the launching of Wikipedia. Kasi nga, remember Wikipedia is, although it's now, there's a WikiLeaks, etc. Or whatsoever, Wikipedia is still in not that, let's what to say, validation or like a reference. Okay, kasi nga, the content there changes from time to time. We can actually change the definitions there in Wikipedia. So medyo hindi siya credible as a source. Okay, so XML, and then you have web applications tagging. And then of course you have Google. So before it was Netscape and now Google is in Web 2.0. And then of course, the views now became cost per click word. Okay, so cost per click, and then of course word of mouth. So nag-expand po yung Web 2.0. Now, what is 3.0 in this slide? So ito yung mga describe na Web 1.0, transition is 2.0 in 2006. What will it mean? So again, how will our information be organized? So Web 3.0 is more focused on the use of technologies like machine learning and AI to provide relevant content for each user instead of just the content other end users have provided. Okay, more customized information. So what will we still do the surfing, or will the machine surf for us? So these are some of the questions that you describe the web to be, or will we rewrite what the web is? So will technology, or what technology will become commonplace? Is it going to be obsolete? What technology will become common, and what technology will become obsolete? So that's actually the question of everyone else. Okay, so now in the Web 3.0, they call it the semantic web. what is the semantic web? It is the next big thing because the semantic web is a web of data. So if for, everyone is familiar with Spider-Man, of course, it's a web data. So yung data, it's like sticky. Di ba? Parang sticky notes siya or something. So it sticks there and it creates, of course, a web of information and networks. So the HTML describes documents, while of course the RDF describes things. So why? So it says there that the challenge is normally there is human error and system abuse. So it's the young people use, of course, RSS feeds and of course the standards for web in terms of like looking at Wikipedia always. So the bottom line is for the semantic web, why should we care? But again, it's not just for academics anymore. So people will use the semantic web, will use these tools to find the most useful. So where the people are, advertisers must follow. Okay, so ganun lang po yun. Okay, that's the semantic web. So where the people are, they now have, or the advertisers must follow. Okay, so the meme map. You see, remember in our previous slides, it was described that it's a meme, or we have a meme culture now. So the semantic web is changing the web into a language that can be read and categorized by the system rather than humans. Okay, so it's like personalization. You contextualize the web based on the people using it. So that's why you notice right now there are a lot of mobile applications because it's now becoming in an interface of more and more people are going mobile. Okay, a lot of people now are using their mobiles to connect. And of course, you have now artificial intelligence, meaning, which means what? Extracting meaning from the way people interact with each other with the web. So the web now, the evolution of the web as we know it is, of course, all of the things that you see, net vibes, iGoogle, etc. So imagine how will we search in Web 3.0? So will it be a specialized search engine or where the context is me and is the search engine understanding who you are or what you've been doing and where you'd like to go next? Okay, so is contextual advertising becoming more engaging? Okay, so parang yung search engine ng Google becomes more user-friendly. Okay, there's a specialized search. There's now a semantic web that caters to whatever you're searching for. Okay, so Search 3.0 or what you call as the Web 3.0 or what they call, ano yung search mangyayari sa Web 3.0? So the forefront is Google has a universal search and user search and history. So there's gadgets for Google. Now for Twine, you have semantic web, you have the natural language, and the machine learning for smarter relationships. So these are actually the applications or the platforms that are now in the forefront. So Swiki is a community-built search portal. So what's the Swiki beta? It's a UX store. It's like probably these are developing. Okay, and then of course, what is PowerSet? It is actually the nuances of natural language. So ito yung mga web applications that are actually search applications na nakikita mo sa mga communities. That's why you have PowerSet. So we have our own search engine sometimes, di ba? So may mga nakikreate ng ganon based on, again, the gadgets that they have. So imagine how will we socialize in Web 3.0? Because normally social search results will come to replace profile pages. So the semantic web now enables digital connections of all the things you have, photos, videos, blogs, etc. So every interaction you make gets dumped into your digital live stream. Not just what you write, but what you read to what you rate. Okay, what you read to what you rate, and then of course, the Twitter now tweets meet the Facebook news feeds. And of course, online purchase behavior is continuing to rise, and it turns users into brand advocates. So yung online purchase behavior mo, it's now part of you now turning into a brand advocate. Kasi nga because of our going into shopping, or we search our needs in a platform. So it's now, you are now becoming brand advocates. Okay, so these are some examples of blogs and also profiles of an organization. So may mga artifacts. So sometimes these are created based on what you are searching for on the web. So when you say social networks and blogging, it's 3.0. It's our who are on the forefront. So you have Twitter, Wink, of course. So Twitter is of course the king of the microblog, and we have a friend of a friend, of course, or sometimes My Life in RDF. They have a platform for sharing information about people and their connections to each other. So you have Google's Open Social, bringing social networks together through either viable applications or useful applications. And then, of course, you have Facebook's Beacon, turning users into brand advocates. So, kanya-kanya sila. So, when we is people-focused search engine that scans social networks, blogs, etc. So, may mga nag-populis to these other sites in social networking and blogging. So, it's like there is some people who are scrutinizing also the web. And of course, just imagine how will we entertain ourselves on the web? So TV goes social, you build and send content to your friends. And of course, um, friends recommended media based on your history and preferences. So you recommend uh, your own content, you build your own content channels. Uh, of course, advertisers sponsor exclusive content. So again, you recommend media-based platforms on your history and preferences. Okay, so lumalabas yun. So now it's happening actually. TV goes social. Okay, kasi nga nagka-transcend na ngayon yung TV sa iba-ibang platforms. Okay? You can watch TV now in the comforts of your, di ba meron tayo dati yung mobile na you can actually have ITV, di ba? At the tip of your um, mobile. Diba? So nakakakuha ka ng news or TV, diba? So these things. And of course, sponsored content versus the traditional contents. And then of course, recommendations, and you have personalization. Okay? So you can actually browse through your net using all of your applications, nakaka-download ka, di ba? So, and then of course, you have Entertainment 3.0, of course, number one po dyan ng Netflix, and then you have Android, you have, I think Amazon also has its own platform for videos, and of course, Slingbox is a TiVo type box that allows access of recorded shows from mobile phones. So you have an iPhone, Android, etc. ongoing fight to develop the most media-enabled module device or mobile device. Even pwede ka na multiplayer gaming, and of course, full YouTube. So yan yung mga entertainment na nangyayari. It now becomes like, for example, your Digibox. Okay, so napapersonalize yung content. Now again, let's try to look into this. So we are now actually in the phase of the Web 2.0, which is the widely read and write web. And we are now all community-based blogs. And these are the platforms that we have, our Web 3.0, which is the personal or the portable personal web, wherein it's focused on our individual live streams. So we have, of course, the user engagement and the advertainment. Okay, so yung tagging is in Web 2.0, and the Web 3.0 is, of course, the personal web. So it's displaying widgets, drag and drops, etc. So yun po yung mga all about actually engagement or evolution into, of course, discussing Web 3.0. Now, after this discussion or this video feed that we have watched, I will meet you again and ask you a series of questions kasi what you understood about the platform of Web 3.0. Then we'll go into another discussion with looking into your uh, guide questions, the next that you're going to discuss because again, we're moving into 2050, diba? So yung kaya nga we have the digital 2050 that we're going to discuss after this video. So see you in a while and see you on the next discussion. Thank you. Bye.